Let's face it, securing EU funding can feel like an absolute impossible maze for universities. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to explore the systemic solutions needed to take incredible academic research and actually turn it into funded, high-impact EU projects. If you're involved in higher education or research administration, you already know just how critical these grants are, and, frustratingly, how elusive they can be.
Okay, let's dive right into this with a pretty striking paradox. Why do brilliant university minds, people equipped with truly amazing research ideas, so often struggle to secure EU funding, like Horizon Europe or Erasmus+? Academics are constantly aiming for these global, impactful projects, but the path from the library to that final success, it's incredibly complex. We have top-tier researchers doing groundbreaking work, yet when it comes to winning these massive grants, there is just a serious disconnect.
So what's really going on here? Why don't these great academic ideas always get funded? Well, I can tell you for sure it is not a lack of scientific capability holding them back. It's easy to just wave a hand and say, oh, academics just don't know how to write projects, but that completely misses the mark. The real issue is a massive gap in the institutional support system. Imagine being a full-time professor. You're already juggling lectures, grading, peer reviews, the whole shebang. Now add on the heavy bureaucratic processes of a major grant application. We're talking about hundreds of pages of compliance guidelines, digging to find the exact right grant call, hidden deep in a labyrinth of EU portals, and often doing it with zero institutional backing. It basically creates a solid brick wall between a great idea and the actual funding.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Academic versus project reality. 2. Core barriers and solutions. 3. Consortium and evidence. 4. 5-stage participation. And 5. Sustainable ecosystem.
Let's jump right into Section 1, Academic Idea versus Project Reality.
There is a massive translation gap here that we have to address right away. You see, academia typically focuses heavily on analyzing problems, defining incredibly tight research questions, and doing these deep, exhaustive literature reviews. The ultimate goal is often to expand human knowledge. But EU projects, they operate on an entirely different wavelength. They demand measurable interventions, concrete societal impacts, and a clear-cut plan for real-world change. A proposal has to answer immediate, highly practical questions like, what specific societal problem are you solving today? And how will these results be sustained financially after the funding ends? It requires a totally different mindset. You aren't just writing a paper anymore. You are essentially pitching a social enterprise.
Moving right along to Section 2, Core Barriers and Solutions.
Now this is where a huge shift has to happen, moving from theoretical academic writing to a strictly evaluator-focused style. Dense, traditional academic text, no matter how brilliant it is, needs to be transformed into structured, actionable work packages. Evaluators reviewing these proposals are on the clock. They are under strict time constraints. They aren't just looking for scientific value. They are rapidly scanning to see if roles are clearly defined, if potential risks are aggressively assessed, and if the outcomes are actually quantifiable. If a brilliant academic text isn't written for that specific evaluator's logic, it just won't score well. The science literally gets lost in the formatting.
But how do we actually pull this off without totally burning out our academics? To relieve the massive anxiety around time and workload, universities absolutely must implement a collaborative role-sharing model. We have to divide the labor. The academic should solely own the scientific content and methodology. That is their zone of genius, right? Meanwhile, specialized support teams step in to handle all the rest. They do the call analysis to make sure the project is eligible, they build out the international consortium, and they handle the dreaded budget and administrative documents. It is all about protecting the academics' time, letting them focus on what they do best, while professional managers handle the logistical nightmare.
Okay, Section 3, Consortium and Evidence.
When you're building your proposal, general academic statements simply aren't enough to prove a need. Just saying, hey, this is a big problem, won't cut it. Winning projects require what is called the triple evidence model. This means combining desk research, like hard statistics and regional policies, with field data, like surveys and interviews. But the critical third piece is direct stakeholder validation through consultations with NGOs, public institutions, and the actual people affected on the ground. All three pieces have to interlock perfectly to prove to evaluators that your project is grounded in absolute reality, not just an isolated theory. It proves the market actually wants the solution you're building.
And speaking of reality, your consortium can't not just be a group of university researchers reading from the same textbook. You need a complementary architecture. Think of it like puzzle pieces sourced from all around the globe that fit together perfectly. You have to bring in public authorities, nonprofits, and tech providers to guarantee the project can actually be implemented in the real world. Every single partner needs a distinct, necessary role. Whether it's drafting policy recommendations, providing a digital software solution, or having direct access to marginalized target groups. If a partner doesn't have a specific job, they shouldn't be in the project. Period.
Next up, Section 4, 5-stage participation.
Listen, it is completely unrealistic to expect a first-timer to coordinate a massive multi-million-euro project right out of the gate. Throwing a researcher into the deep end as a primary coordinator usually results in extreme burnout, a failed application, and a researcher who never, ever wants to apply for a grant again. Instead, we have to conceptualize this process as a staircase, safely and systematically guiding professionals upward as they gain confidence and actually learn the specific language of EU funding.
So, here is how that staircase builds. An academic can start by simply offering expert analysis at level 1, contributing their specific knowledge to a small piece of a larger project. From there, over the course of maybe a year or two, they gradually grow into a task leader, managing one specific activity. Then, they step up to become a work package leader, overseeing a major chunk of the project's deliverables. Eventually, they move up to coordinating for their entire institution. Finally, at level 5, once they have years of experience, a deep network, and full institutional backing, they can confidently step into the role of full project coordinator. This systematic escalation ensures competence, builds a great track record, and it totally prevents that overwhelming anxiety.
And that brings us to our final section, sustainable ecosystem.
This entire process cannot be a last-minute scramble a few weeks before a deadline. It requires what we call a project factory model. This is an end-to-end integrated system where ideas flow smoothly from the initial concept all the way to a fully realized, internationally funded project. It means having a multi-year pipeline that proactively maps the expertise of your faculty, matches them with upcoming funding calls months in advance, and provides continuous support from a single dedicated point of contact. This way, nothing falls through the cracks, and researchers feel supported every step of the way.
But to make this ecosystem actually work, universities absolutely have to offer tangible, structural incentives. Recognizing that the sheer effort of project development is a highly valuable academic performance in itself is vital. Think about it. If writing a complex proposal doesn't count toward an academic's promotion, or if they aren't given a temporary reduction in teaching loads to actually find the time to write the thing, the ecosystem will collapse before it even begins. Why would they volunteer for that stress? Support like dedicated travel funding for international partner meetings and technical assistance from research assistants, that's non-negotiable if a university wants to compete at the highest level.
So success really isn't just about teaching an academic how to write a proposal. It's about building a robust ecosystem where their scientific ideas are nurtured into lasting global impact by a dedicated team. It's a fundamental shift in perspective for higher education. We have to stop viewing grant writing as a solo, exhausting marathon. Instead, we need to start treating it as the elite team sport that it truly is, where everyone plays their specific position to secure the win.
I really want to leave you with this final thought to consider for your own institution. Are you expecting your best minds to be scientists, writers, managers, and budget experts all at the exact same time? Or are you ready to build the collaborative structure they actually need to truly change the world? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Take these frameworks, look closely at your institution's support structures, and start building that collaborative ecosystem today.